Well, hello everyone. And as I promised, I am providing you with a recording of the leadership team meeting that we had on the 17th, whenever we had it. Okay. So I'm just going to start and dig right in. Feel free to not invite, feel free to have anybody that you want, forward this to whoever you want, and share it with your clubs or with anyone that you want. But this is our Leadership and Legacy District Leadership Meeting 2025. Okay, so here's our agenda. And obviously, towards the end, when we had table conversations, that we will not have in this video. But basically, I'm going to go through what my goals are for my district governor year, which starts July 1st. Okay, so who am I? Well, let me just give you a little idea of who I am. So my background, as many of you know, I worked at Taylor Company for 32 years, started entry level and worked my way up to senior vice president of global sales and marketing. I decided in 2019 that it was time for me to leave. And so I did. I left my corporate job and I started Grace and Salt Leadership Academy. I do have a bachelor's degree in Spanish and psychology from Luther College in Decorah, Iowa. Go Norsemen. And an MBA from NIU, a master's in organizational leadership from Southern New Hampshire University. And I'm a very proud member of Rotary Club in Rockton, Roscoe. That serves the Rockton, Roscoe, Sherland, South Beloit area. We're at the top of the state, 5 miles actually from Beloit, Wisconsin, and in the center of the state. So that is that. I wrote a book in 2019, which started Grace and Salt Leadership Academy. That's really the foundation and the basis for it. Grace and Salt Leadership Academy is an online group coaching program that does a couple things. The first one is helps women in that entry level to mid management range with their communication, with how to manage their boss, and quite frankly, building confidence and executive presence, right? They're driven women that want to go to that next level. I also do some executive coaching as well, which is for men and women, and some business consulting. So all of that rolled into one is our Grace and Salt Leadership Academy. Why am I telling you this when I'm speaking to Rotary? Well, for years and years, I decided, for some reason, I don't know why, I separated my two lives. I separated my work life and I separated my Rotary life. I don't know why I did that. In fact, I decided when I left Taylor, I decided to continue my membership with Rotary because of network and because of business. But yet I still separated them until February 9th of 2025. I was at International Assembly and every international business card that I received, the one side was their Rotary information and the other side was their business information. Genius. I loved it. So I will be changing my business cards as well. And I recommend the same for you. Let's come to Rotary as our whole selves, because the biggest message that I can leave you with today is to, what keeps us up at night? It's membership. And in order to grow Rotary and make more of an impact, which we'll talk about in a moment, in order to do that, you need to attract new members, or you need to retain and engage your existing members, right? We have 1.2, 1.3 million members. There's kind of a rotating door. And in order to keep those that we have engaged, we have to keep them engaged. And in order to grow, we need to bring new people in. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But the one way you can keep engaged and you can keep Rotary at your forefront, so it's not so much of an added activity, is to bring it into your life and bring your whole self to Rotary. What does that mean? That means that we prioritize Rotary to the top. Yep, to the top. Like you bring Rotary to your faith and you bring your faith to Rotary. Well, what does that look like? We're not in a religious organization. No, we're not. But you still bring, if you're a faith-based person and you bring and you're doing community service, you bring your Rotary friends with you. Or when you're doing a Rotary program, you invite your church friends with you, right? You do that. You bring your Rotary into your family. You bring your family into Rotary. You bring Rotary into your friends. You bring your friends into Rotary. And so that way Rotary becomes part of your DNA, and it's not an extra added effort. It's who you are. It's part of your identity. So having said all that, and trying to not get on my soapbox here, because I do realize that this is a video. So anyway, that is what I'm doing now. So the presentation that you just saw, and it was very quick, and I go into much greater detail that I'm not going to bore you with, but when you're meeting people, lead, if you're at a Rotary event, lead with your business. If you're at a business event, lead with Rotary. Make it be part of it. So that's what's so genius about the very simple, very simplistic strategy by having a business card that is two-sided, one Rotary, one business, is that when you're at a business event and they look and go, oh, you're Rotarian? Tell me about that. Or I'm a Rotarian too. Or you go, oh, you're an executive coach? I need to talk to you. Or I have a friend that needs your services. That type of thing. All right, let's move on here because I've got quite a bit to share. Okay, I also do some volunteer work at the Dominican Republic down in Monterey. So this is an amazing organization. You'll meet Rafaelito and Griselda off to the right. That's the pastor and his wife who support this community called Monterey. Now, it is not an official community by any stretch of Santiago in the Dominican Republic. Santiago, the city, does not recognize this community, but there's thousands of people living here. And so I support them financially and with my time and my talent. And so I will be they want to build a school. And so with my access to Rotary and the grants and the connections that we have, this is a great example of how we can help do a global grant or whatever that looks like. I don't know what it looks like today. This is a multi-year kind of program, but stay tuned for learning more about the Dominican. And this is my family. So I show my family everywhere I go because there was a day when I didn't take my whole self to work. And so today I do this to continually make sure that I'm grounded and that I'm centered, because it's easy for me and my personality to go, we have work to do. We have goals to set. We have blah, 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 right? Are you like that? You might be like that. And I need to be sure that I step back and go, no, Melissa, yes, we have work to do, but it is about our family. It is about our friends. It is about our connections with other people. So, and I'd like to introduce you to my adorable grandson, Finley, who is 16 months old. All right, my philosophy in business and quite frankly in life is that I believe we need to develop leaders at all levels, and you'll hear more about my leadership initiative towards the end of this program. Communication is cornerstone. Accountability moves organizations. I believe accountability is lacking in today's world. Metrics, data drives decisions, and trust speeds business. All right, so we then took a question. What was your first job? So if you're watching this and you're with a group of people, I encourage you to stop the recording right now and go around the room. What was your first job? Did you like it? What was, and be curious about it. Connect on that level. You may know everybody in the room, but you may not know what their first job was. So, if that's you, great. Otherwise, I am going to continue. So, Mario, Rotary International President-elect Mario, he's from Brazil, and I want to play his message. But first, I need to share with sound so you can hear it. All right, and so we are going to play his message right now.
She can't resist. Good morning. Bon dia. Buenos dias. Bonjour. Guten Morgen. Ohayo gozaimasu. Now the difficult one. Jun achinye yo. Should sound Korean. Esteemed governors and leaders of Rotary, last year we gathered here to address the governors-elect of 2024-2025. At that time, I spoke as the president nominee of Rotary International, highlighting membership growth as our organization's top priority, most valuable asset, and greatest challenge. Today, as I stand before you as president-elect, I'm more convinced than ever that our collective focus on membership is essential to securing Rotary's future. Rotary's greatest asset is not our history, our projects, or even our unmatched global reach. It's our members, the best qualified team of volunteers on the planet. I learned this lesson early on during the Atlanta Convention, when a representative from one of our polio partners praised the extraordinary dedication of our members. That recognition from an outsider deepened my understanding. Rotary's greatest gift to the world is its people. Today, I want to share our roadmap to membership growth and revitalization, guided by three essential pillars: innovation, continuity, and partnership. These principles are not just strategies. They are a call to action to rejuvenate Rotary, to attract new voices and perspectives, and to strengthen our service to communities worldwide. The world is changing, often at a dramatic pace. Technology, social expectations, economic conditions evolve constantly, and Rotary must evolve with them. As Tommaso di Lampedusa wrote in Il Gattopardo, for everything to stay the same, everything must change. Innovation is how we adapt to this changing world. It's not just about welcoming younger members, but also engaging senior individuals seeking purpose and connection. At 68 years old, I know firsthand how fulfilling it is to find a community of peers. Consider the example of my home club, Santo André, a thriving legacy club with 150 members. My wife, Denise, helped charter a satellite club, creating a space for almost 50 remarkable women to lead in their own way. Satellite clubs, cause-based clubs, enterprise clubs, passport clubs are examples of the flexibility we need to attract a diverse audience. While these models may not work everywhere, they offer us the opportunity to reach future Rotarians outside our traditional frameworks. Future Rotary members are out there. We must meet them where they are. During my travels, more than 6 laps around the globe in the past 18 months, I have observed that the healthiest districts share one critical feature: consistent, united leadership. Districts thrive when governors build on their predecessors' efforts, ensuring programs and strategies continue seamlessly year after year. Conflict at the top, by contrast, is a time bomb that often results in declining membership. Let me share some inspiring moments from this journey. In Nigeria's District 9141, I saw the incredible impact of building wells and commissioning school chairs in underserved areas. In Pakistan, I visited smart villages where Rotary helped populations affected by the devastating 2022 floods move from survival to a better future. In Mumbai, India, I met children receiving life-saving care through a Rotary grant for congenital heart disease, and in another region, I witnessed ambulances lined up outside a palliative care hospital, each one bearing the Rotary Foundation logo, supporting breast cancer detection, dental care, and eye exams. In Lampung, Indonesia, Denise and I had the privilege to witness a microeconomic transformation for 700 families to multiply farmers' family incomes on rice paddies. Continuity is not about uniformity, it's about alignment. When district leaders work together, envisioning Rotary beyond their governor ear, they set up the stage for long-term success. Rotary already faces the unique challenge of annual leadership transitions. Let's not make it harder by fragmenting our efforts. Instead, let's build a legacy of collaboration that future leaders can build upon. Rotary's history with polio eradication teaches us an invaluable lesson. Alone, we can achieve great things, but together, we can change the world. Partnerships with organizations like the Gates Foundation, WHO, and UNICEF have been instrumental in the global $23 billion investment over 40 years to eliminate polio. We would never have made this much progress alone. So why not apply this lesson to membership growth? Partnering with business associations, professional organizations, and academic institutions can help us attract quality members while embracing diversity in professions and perspectives. Such partnerships eliminate the false dilemma of quantity versus quality. By reaching out to professionals who share our values of service and engagement, we can expand Rotary's capacity to do good in the world. Ultimately, all our achievements, projects, and partnerships depend on our members. Membership growth is not just about numbers. It's about renewing our collective strength and ensuring our mission endures. First, we must acknowledge that no one lives forever. Sadly. The only hedge against aging clubs is the constant admission of new members. Second, our capacity for service grows with our membership. More members mean more hands to help and more resources to invest in our communities. Third, succession planning is critical. Clubs either grow or dwindle. There is no such a thing as stable membership. We must make recruitment and retention a core value, passing it from one generation of Rotary members to the next. By doing so, we ensure that Rotary remains vibrant and impactful for decades to come. Rotary members are people of action, remember? We don't wait for change to happen. We make it happen. And what do people of action do? What do people of action do? We unite for good. And that's our presidential message for 2025-26. Unite for good. In a world often divided, Rotary stands as a beacon of unity and hope. Our projects bring together people of all races, religions, genders, ideologies, economic backgrounds, uniting us in a shared purpose to do good to the world. Rotary inspires us to be better people, to serve others, and to create a lasting impact. As you leave this room today, I urge you to focus on learning the best strategies for growing Rotary in your districts. Rotary has invested a great amount of time and money in this assembly, not for speeches and fanfare, but to equip you with the tools to lead effectively. Our return on this investment will not be measured in dollars, but in the new members we welcome, the innovative clubs we create, and the lives we change through service. And as you carry out this mission, don't forget one of Rotary's greatest joys: making friends around the world and having fun. Together, let's embrace this journey of growth, service, and connection. Let's build a Rotary that unites for good and ensures a brighter future for all. Thank you very much.
All right, so that was Mario's message. And so we're going to go back to, here we go. I want to go back to our presentation here. And so these are just my highlights, and you may have other highlights that you gleaned from his message. But for me, these were the ones that stuck out that I really want to focus on. And that is that for future Rotarian members, remember I told you we had 1.3, 1.4 million members around the world. Our future Rotarian members, we need to meet where they are. What does that mean? That means that when we have new clubs and we take off the restrictions, which Rotary International has been doing for many, many years. It also says that our growing districts, when they looked at the data on growing districts, they all had consistent, united leadership, right? When you have a united leadership up at the top, everybody else knows what's going on. When you've got challenges at the top where the leadership is not aligned, then the club, it tends to be, very disjointed, or our district tends to be very disjointed. So this 3-year succession where you've got district governor-elect, district governor nominee, district governor nominee designate, right? All of that succession plan, or president-elect, president nominee, that is very important. And it's very important that the three of you, whether it's at a club level or a district level, are on the same page and that we get together often so that we're all aligned. That way, when I'm no longer district governor and Tina is district governor, it's very smooth transition and there isn't disruption because we're going to, change things, right? So that's where their Rotary Action Plan is the 3-year plan that we've been talking about for the last year at least. Okay, together, yes, we can all change the world. And then partnerships. Now, when I thought about partnerships as at a club level. You're going to partner with your local chamber of commerce or your local organization or whatever that might be. I hadn't really thought about partnering at a district level. So the question would be, what kind of associations have share values? Is it academics? Is it associations? Is it, right? What does that look like? And basically I boiled down Mario's secret sauce to these 3 things. No one lives forever, right? So we need new members or we're dying. More hands equals more help. That gives us more of a capacity to do good in the world. And then succession planning is critical. We grow or we die. So recruitment and retention must be our core values. All right. Very good message. So my goals for 2025, 2026, increase membership. Mario told us we have one job to do. When I was at Zone last fall, which is a training program in San Antonio, it varies in different years, but last year it was in San Antonio, and he made it very clear to me. I got a little bit confused with all of the things coming at you from Rotary International with the Rotary Action Plan and all this stuff. How do I boil it down to a very simple goal? Because no one can do these 10 or 20 goals, especially when Rotary is a volunteer organization. So how do we incorporate that into our world, right? As I mentioned earlier, he made it very, very clear. He said you have one job to do at a district level. It's very difficult to increase membership from a district level for clubs. The clubs have to do that themselves. Can you help them? Can you support them? Absolutely. It's very difficult, however, to help them grow membership. So the one thing that we can do to grow membership from a district level is to add clubs. So that is what we're going to be focused on. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the basis for this meeting that we had in Princeton a few weeks ago. So and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. So increasing new clubs, we're going to focus on that during my year. And then I'm introducing a fellowship called Rotary Means Business. So this was a fellowship that I was introduced to. This gentleman. His name's Andre from District 6440, and he has set up 7 chapters. These are networking groups for businesses, and it not only has helped him grow his own business, which is a financial planning business or investment business, but also it has helped grow the clubs because it has brought new members in. So stay tuned. You will learn more about Rotary Means Business. I absolutely know that in our district that we could definitely have a couple chapters, if not more. Second goal is to launch the Level Up Leadership Initiative and focusing on our future. And I will go into detail in a moment. And the last one is, yes, we need to do club support, membership, help with membership retention and attraction, help our clubs with new club initiatives. What does that look like? And then focus heavily on succession planning. This year, as the president-elects know, they started getting emails in September up for training. And we didn't have all of the president-elects established or identified until January, maybe February of 2025. So those president-elects that came to the table later, like in February, they had a lot of catching up to do with regards to training. So the goal is to get us over the hump so that we have all PEs identified now. That way, when the PEs, July 1st, our PE class today will become presidents, but because we already have president-elects established, that's all good, and we're not rushing then with the training in order to get them up to speed when they become president. So right now, we need to be focusing on getting 2 things. 1, president-elects, and 2, president nominees. We're going to do both of that at the same time. Now, I recognize we may not get all 42 clubs to have a president-elect and nominee, but if we could get 20 or 50% of those clubs to already have a president nominee identified, we will be way ahead of the game than we've been in the past. All right, this is our District 6420 organization. We have our DG line roles on the left-hand side. The middle section is our committee chairs. Where you see the orange boxes, those are empty spots. So I'm looking for a membership chair. I'm looking for a public image committee chair. I'm looking for an AGs for Area 5, Area 6, and Area 9, okay? And so if you know of anybody that may be interested in any one of those, the Rotary Action Plan is not, that's a champion, and that is not a critical role, so I'm not really recruiting that at the moment, but I will be looking for somebody in that role very shortly. All right. Now, this video, many of you may or may not have seen, but I want to show it so that I want to show it to remind us of why it is so important for us to add clubs and what that looks like to increase membership.
As Rotary, we often ask ourselves, how do we grow, personally, professionally, and organizationally? The answer is simple. To grow Rotary, we need more Rotary clubs. Let's use Anytown as an example. Anytown is a city of 100,000 people and home to one proud Rotary club. But there are hundreds of other people of action, just like us, who are uniquely qualified to become Rotary members. They share the same drive and represent the values and fundamentals of a Rotary member. So why aren't they members? Well, the current club meets on Monday. There are leaders in Anytown who can't meet on a Monday. By excluding this segment, the potential members in Anytown has shrunk. Now consider, what if the meeting is at noon on Monday? There are people who can meet on Monday, but can't meet at noon. So now we have a smaller audience for Rotary in Anytown. Of the remaining group, some aren't interested in a club with a sit-down lunch and speakers. They are passionate about service, but aren't interested in a traditional club experience. And that is okay. The Rotary Club of Anytown isn't doing anything wrong. It just doesn't appeal to particular segments of the community. And if we're going to thrive for years to come, we must adapt and embrace change. In Anytown, we have an opportunity to expand because potential members are everywhere. More than half of the eligible people are prospective Rotary members, waiting to make a bigger impact in their community. But what Rotary Club exists for them? If Anytown creates new clubs at new times and new places, the hidden potential for Rotary will be revealed. As people of action, we must broaden our reach and provide opportunities to all leaders in the community. Together, all of us can grow Rotary.
All right, very good. So that video is available in the Brand Center. You can download it, share it with your clubs. I think it gives a really good representation of why adding new clubs is so important. All right, let's continue our discussion. Okay, so I'm going to read a story. At PETS, I reached out to several clubs and asked them what legacy their clubs had. And I received some incredible stories. I'm going to read one of them to you. And I would challenge you to reach out to your own club and say, what is it that is our legacy? What did we start years ago that we're still doing, and understand the impact that we've had? I think it's very, very important. When my club, the Rockton Roscoe Rotary Club, was going through a transition where we were dying, and we were down to an average of 3 members per meeting, right? We had 9 members total. We all got together and decided that this was unacceptable, and we had an obligation and a responsibility to our forefathers who started the club, but also to our communities. And so we really got invested, and we really became engaged. And it was important at that time that we needed to market to our internal club members before we could even market outside to invite people in. We needed to get re-engaged with why we were doing what we were doing. And so I think it's important for us to reconnect with our club. If you find yourself in that place, then I suggest and just recommend that you have a conversation and really dig into and introduce the club to previous club initiatives and members, right? Just kind of go in the past a little bit. So Once Upon a Time, Legacy Stories is the name of my book. And here is the story. So once upon a time, in a small community in northern Illinois, one of the local farmers who was civic-minded and not only an active community member, but a passionate Rotarian. He's quoted to say, "Service to others is the rent we pay for our space here on earth." And this is a direct quote, and I'm going to say it again. Service to others is the rent we pay for our space here on earth. Now, at this time in the world, we were experiencing a global pandemic. There were estimated 350,000 cases in 125 countries. Children were mostly impacted, causing permanent paralysis and often death. Because it was highly contagious, parents weren't allowed to visit their children. In the Rockford area, most children traveled to Chicago hospitals alone. Parents and loved ones had to see their children through glass windows. In 1985, Rotary International made a decision to take on this disease and eradicate it once and for all. Having only raised half of $150 million needed for the project, Rotary International selected 10 clubs for pilot clubs. The goal was for each club to establish a fundraising drive to see what results they'd achieve and how the members would respond. One of the clubs chosen was in District 6420, the Rotary Club of Rochelle. Leonard Carmichael volunteered to be the chairman of the fundraising committee. The committee hoped to raise $30,000 to $40,000, but Leonard, he upped that to say, "Oh, no, not on my watch. We're going to raise $50,000. So using Leonard's standard strategy, let's start with the club members. How much will they give? Well, in 30 days, they had raised $100,000. That's $280,000 in today's money. They then ramped it up, and they hosted a series of mini meetings at Leonard's house where they'd gather 5 community members, show slides, and discuss the impact of polio on the world. Leonard's wife, Marge, baked rhubarb pie for each meeting. 13 meetings, 13 pies. Although I do not know the exact number that Leonard and his Rotarian cohorts raised for polio, Rochelle was one of the 10 clubs to start the Polio Plus Fund. Imagine that. In Rochelle, Illinois, this club started the Polio Plus Fund, right? They were one of 10 clubs that started the Polio Plus Fund. Now, because of them, here is the impact today. Rotary members have donated over $2.1 billion to polio eradication initiatives. Excuse me, I didn't expect to get emotional here. Through these contributions, nearly 3 billion children across 122 countries have been immunized against polio. Since the launch of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative in 1988, polio cases have decreased by 99.9% worldwide. And we all know that we're not finished yet. More than 1 million Rotary members have volunteered their time and resources to support polio eradication efforts. Polio Plus grants have facilitated the creation of healthcare delivery and data collection infrastructures in regions previously lacking such systems. I mean, we can even take it further right now and say, wait a minute, during COVID and all of those vaccinations, right, the infrastructure was built because of Rotary International's efforts with the World Health Organization and with all of the other organizations in the world that they partner with. But that infrastructure was already built. So when it came to rolling out the COVID vaccine, we had a system in place, so we were able to reach people quicker. Amazing. So now Mario's message, and this is how I left the president-elects during PETS, okay? Because I read the story at PETS. Mario's message was, we have one job to do: grow membership through innovation, partnership, and consistency, or continuity. Leonard's story from 40 years ago embodies Rotary International President-elect Mario's instructions. So here's my challenge to the club presidents and also to you. What will define your leadership? What legacy will you leave in your club and community? And how will you inspire others to serve? So I think it's really important, and maybe when I'm PDG, I'll go to every club and find their legacy story and write a book and print it. I don't know. But I do encourage you to find out your legacy. It's important to reconnect with who we are. So that's why we need to add new clubs, right? So that we have more hands equals more help. All right, so what type of clubs could exist? We could have by population, right? We should check out Harvard. We haven't had a club in Harvard in years. Byron Club dissolved last year. That community needs Rotary, and so that we can continue to impact the community the way that the past Rotary Club did in Byron. It could be a cause-based club, environment, human trafficking, could be any of those. It could be by age. Let's start a Rotaract club at the community club, not one that's tied to a university. And what clubs do, or excuse me, what clubs do the communities need? And then, of course, if a club is declining, why and how do we need to adjust it, right? We need to meet our future Rotarians where they are. Those were the instructions that Mario gave us. So at this time, we then divided up into tables, and we had a group discussion. And so we came up and we ranked the clubs that we want to focus on. So this is the leadership meeting where we started the discussion of what type of clubs do we feel that we need to all work on chartering here in the next several years. My goal would be to charter at least one club in 2025. Now, what does that mean? It could be a satellite club, which is a requirement of 8 members, or it could be a standalone club, which now, effective July 1st, requires 15 members to be chartered and not the 20 that we're used to. So the group came together and we prioritized and ranked things, and this is what we came up with. And so let me get the list. Okay. Okay. So the list was, I dropped a sticky note. So this is live TV. All right. So the clubs and the rankings was this. Okay. So here it is. So we have a corporate club. We want to research corporate clubs. This was the top one. There was a cause-based for a literacy club. There was Youth Exchange Alumni Club. So next step, what are we going to do next? We are going to get together for our strategic planning session, which is scheduled for May 31st, and we will be going through these top 2 and identifying what actions each committee needs to take in order to charter one of those clubs. Excuse me, in 2025-2026 year. Okay, awesome. I will be sending a survey out here in the next month or so that ask one question, and that is, what support do you need from me to be successful? So I want you to be thinking about that. District Training Assembly, May 17th at Sauk Valley Community College in Dixon. 7:30 breakfast. We start promptly at 8:30. We'll end at 12:30. We have a jam-packed agenda. We will be focusing on retention and attraction because the survey results following PETS from the president-elects on what they really wanted to focus on, where they didn't feel comfortable in leading their year, was they wanted to really focus on retention and attraction of membership. So we will be focusing in that area. We do have a guest speaker that will be giving us a state of the state address on polio. Club runner online training, financial review and proposed budget approval. We will have literacy awards and public image awards. So please join us. Registration is open now. Okay, club visit. I want to talk to you about my club visits. I am going to be doing, I'm kind of disrupting things a little bit here. What I plan on doing is sending a video to all of the clubs. And I'm doing that for two reasons. The first reason is that everybody will receive the same message, right? I'm going to give the same message. My expectation is that they have this, they show the video during one of their meetings so that all members can hear it. Not only the same message, all 42 clubs receive the same message, but they will receive the message at the same time, right? Otherwise, I start in July and I go to every club and I cannot get to the last clubs until March. That's a problem. I cannot squeeze it into before November, which is typically the timeline. So I'm going to send a video recording out. It will be somewhat interactive. So if the clubs choose to participate, there will be questions where it is going to spark some conversation, is my goal, on adding new clubs and on membership. So expect that to go out. Now, does that mean I'm not going to see the clubs? No, doesn't mean that at all. Doesn't mean I'm going to be hiding in my office up here in Northern Illinois. It means that then we are organizing get-togethers at a pub or winery or a restaurant or whatever makes sense for by area. And so each area, we will get together and have a get-together and a meet and greet, a town hall, call it whatever you'd like. But that way, invite family, friends, invite prospective members, invite everybody that you want to invite. So we'll have 10 of those because we have 10 areas. And those are Sue Rector is helping with the coordination of that. So she will be in contact with the president-elects here shortly and get those on the calendar. And so those are going to go from from July through probably February based on scheduling and holidays and all of that stuff. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be great. And so if you have any questions, just please let me know. One other thing on that. If for some reason there is a club who really wants the district governor to come to their meeting, like it's tradition, they have a long-standing, maybe there's a specific way that they welcome that district governor, I will attend. I will go to their meeting. I just don't know when it will be. Okay, so that's why I need this video to go out. Everybody hears the same message and they hear it at the same time. That to me is critical. They can watch it in their own time, and then we'll get together and we'll make connections. And it's all about listening instead of me talking. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions or concerns, whatever it might be, please feel free to reach out to me. And then I want to talk about my Level Up Leadership for Life initiative. At PETS, I launched my mentorship challenge. And I confused everybody. I wasn't very clear in my communication and what I was looking for, and some people just didn't really resonate with it, and so they were confused, right? It's not a service project. It's not something, it's a service project focused on high school students, but it's not donating so many pounds of food to a food pantry. It's not building a pollinator plot. It's not donating books, right? It's not real hard, tangible stuff. It's about pouring into our high school students and helping them with workplace readiness. I have revised it a bit because I was listening to the feedback that I had received. It is now called the Level Up Leadership for Life. And so this is a workplace readiness initiative for our high school students, boys and girls. It is to build leadership confidence. Remember, I believe we need to develop leaders at all levels. That is typically, I say that in the workplace, but I mean it for life. I want to provide a workplace readiness and career exploration type of program. Now, that can be a lot of different things, and I have some examples for you, but it isn't by any means, it's not like it's not, here's the box that you must play in. It can, if you find you've got a better idea or you want to partner with a different organization or whatever it might be, Godspeed. But I did want to give you some ideas so that it's a little bit easier and a little bit clearer to brainstorm on what works for your club and for your community, right? It's also encouraging youth participation in service and Rotary programs. So here's some ideas: mentorship and career exposure, right? So host career panels or job shadow days, mock interviews with many high schools already have these. Reach out to your high schools and say, hey, my Rotary Club would love to help with the interview sessions that you have. Set up informal mentor chats on Ask Me Anything. I attended a young women's organization, leadership organization at a local high school a couple weeks ago. And the question, they had questions about showing up on time. They had questions about the dress. They had questions about all kinds of things. So just have a town hall, right? Ask Me Anything kind of conversation. Have it online. Do a Facebook Live, whatever it might be. Confidence and leadership skills. Offer public image, personal branding workshops, a confidence boot camp, a leadership day, time management, student recognition or ambassador programs. Host resume help. Organize a Level Up Summit with local leaders. Launch a student recognition program. I guess I already said that. Partner with schools. Interact. RILA. Invite students to club meetings, right? All of these things and more are available. So get yourself thinking, how am I going to measure this? I don't know that I am. I'm asking and I'm encouraging the clubs to pour into their young people in your community. Find out what your young people need. Talk to the teachers, talk to the counselors, talk to your community people, talk to the parents. Like, what is it? Do they need financial help? My children were in AP classes, which meant that they didn't go through the normal, economics where they learned how to balance their checkbook, even if we don't do that anymore. But they didn't learn that stuff. We taught them. But not all parents teach them. So they end up going off to school or trade school or to the workplace, and they don't know how to manage their money. What are your gifts? What are the gifts that you have that you use either in your day job or as you used to because you're retired? What are those gifts that you could then give back to that local high school student? And in turn, then they get to know about Rotary, and maybe they want to join the Interact Club, or maybe they want to start an Interact Club, or maybe they want to get into a Rotaract Club, a community Rotaract Club, like all of that stuff. Okay, that was my distributor. Where am I? That was my district leadership meeting. The next meeting is our strategic planning meeting, which is May 31st. At Gateway Services facility in Princeton. We'll start at 9 o'clock. We'll go to 11:30. Those of you who are invited, you have your invitation. And so I'm looking forward to that as we fine tune what type of clubs we're going to be focusing on this next year. All right, everyone, have an absolutely fantastic day.